top things you should and shouldn't do to try and reclaim your youth. Dr. Vince Marin is with us this morning, revealing the Over 35 Survival Guide.
Serving all of San Diego, this is your Fox 5 News.
We have an Over 35 Survival Guide this morning. Joining us this morning is Dr. Vince Marin. He's here to show us how women's faces age and also what we should and shouldn't do to reclaim our youth. Okay, wait a second now. Over 35?
You know, it's funny. It's the time at which you start to see that women can't just get away with all the things that they used to do.
Come on now.
I know, I hate to break it to you, but
let's
we
say
see
75.
patience. Well, you know, it doesn't mean you're not
list.
beautiful after 35, but there's things that you could get away with that you can't get away with anymore.
And you start to see some of the signs that you maybe didn't see earlier
Exactly.
in life. So we have some celebrities' pictures, and we're going to kind of compare how they age. We're going to start first with Terry Hatcher.
Terry Hatcher, yeah.
And what are we seeing with her forehead here?
So she kind of infamously posted these pictures and said she never used Botox. You can see those lines that she's starting to get through there. If she doesn't use Botox, these lines will be something that will come at rest. And when you look at her here as kind of the after, I think she still might be using Botox. That forehead looks really smooth.
It looks suspicious?
Suspiciously smooth. And the one thing with Botox is that it's probably just that it wore off at the time she took that first picture. But that's something that the best thing about Botox, the prevention side of it, and that you get lines that are going to be there not just when you move, but also at rest. And those are the things that by using Botox, sometimes even earlier than 35, there's actually a benefit long-term by getting.
Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so.
Sorry.
All right, we're going to talk about lips volume next, and we're going to show you Heidi Klum. We have a couple of pictures of her, and this is something that a lot of people care about. So this is from a few years ago, right?
This is the old picture of her where she really had some very nice youthful fullness of her. Sorry about that. Let me get that out of there. She has youthful fullness of her lips that you can see clearly, a nice balance of upper and lower, a lot of fullness. But I'm going to kind of go back to or actually move into the future here, and then we'll show you where she is now. And this is her smiling, but you can really kind of see that, you know, she's lost a lot of that volume on that upper lip. And that's something where she's just over a period of time slowly lost volume, something that we see in the normal aging process. That's something that's easily corrected with a filler like Juvederm or Restylane. And it just adds a fullness back. It gives you a little bit more youthful beauty, that it's a natural process that she's living. She's a gorgeous woman. She's 40 years old. Couldn't be a thing wrong with her, but if you just start to nitpick these little things, it's something that happens. It's an easy fix. It's a 10-minute procedure in the office.
Yeah, we're really nitpicking when we're picking out
flaws
in Heidi Klum.
I know.
All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is facial volume and how that sort of changes through the years. And the person that we're going to look at here is Madonna.
We have Miss Madonna. Yes, if you look at her kind of before, especially kind of in that cheek area here, some of these lines on her face that we call the nasolabial folds really start to show that as she's so athletic that she's gotten to the point where she's lost all that volume. And then you see her here with kind of that cheek is fuller, the volume underneath here isn't quite as bad, and all of this, she just looks healthier and fuller and more youthful as in an older picture of her. So for me, what I like to see in patients is restoring that volume. You can do that through fillers off the shelf. A lot of patients will use their own fat where they can transfer it from somewhere. Ooh. Somebody like Madonna, though, she's so thin when you see those pictures of her and doing all that yoga. She's so thin, there isn't a lot of fat she can take. So she probably took something off the shelf, I would assume, to give her that
fat
volume.
On her body.
No, not at all.
Where do you take the fat from?
So the nice thing about doing fat grafting procedure is we get the benefit of doing a little bit of liposuction. So it's usually wherever you have a problem area. So patients, if they have that in their stomach or if they have it on a hip or something like that, we're able to kind of target that, take the fat out, and then transfer it back into the face.
Very interesting, right? All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is fine lines. This is something that happens to a lot of us as we age, and we're going to take a look at the very lovely Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah, so here's Jennifer Aniston, her Friends days, I think, and if you look at her forehead, and she's also notoriously said that she doesn't want to use anything to lose that expression. So if you look way back in her 20s, there's really not much wrong with her. She could do anything she wanted. She could be out in the sun. She can animate, do everything. She does just fine. But if we go go back to where she is now and look at her forehead, you can really see without her animating, this line that she has across the brow up here is at rest. You can see there's one right above it as well. Those things are there without her moving her muscles. Now, you can use laser resurfacing to correct that, but what she's showing here is something, the reason that I like Botox, because that helps prevent that phenomenon with somebody like her. As an actress, they want to animate. I understand the whole perspective, but there are some consequences. Something like this, if they don't want to use Botox, you can do laser resurfacing to improve that.
But I'm with her because I hate it when the women get it and they make a face and their eyebrows get all crazy pointy.
Yeah, or don't move at all.
Right.
So it's one of those things, but you can do it in a way that still has a little bit of expression, but also doesn't add to the long-term aging process.
Gotcha. All right, next let's talk about sunspots. And we're going to take a look at a picture of Kate Moss.
I think we've got Kate here, yeah, and if you look at her, and she was kind of the it girl in the 90s, and you look at, there's, again, nothing she could have done wrong early on, but you look at her, she's had a, you know, kind of a party lifestyle and being out in the sun and all
This
that.
might not be the most flattering
It's
picture.
not, no. It does emphasize the point, but she, if you look at, again, her forehead, she has some of these little brown spots that you see. These types of things are all just kind of the aging process of being out in the sun. Sometimes just wearing enough sunscreen and kind of staying away from that, you know, golden tan. It's hard to do in San Diego, but it is something that will help. Again, this is something that an IPL laser or what's called broadband light can actually target those brown spots, make them disappear. Recovery is a couple days, and then, you know, all you need is a topical anesthetic.
Lastly, we want to talk about Lindsay Lohan because she's not very old
No.
at all. So this is an indication of what sort of a hard life
Exactly.
can do to your face.
Yeah, and if you look at Lindsay here, she has the same type of thing. She does have that kind of lighter complexion, but you see all of these spots around her forehead. You see her along her cheek, you know, around her nose. All of those just become worse with sun exposure. It's your skin protecting itself, the melanin starts to concentrate, and you get those darker spots. And unfortunately, a girl like this, it's still kind of cute on her. She has a freckle, but as she starts to age, this will get progressively worse over time, that she's going to need some treatment, most likely in the future.
A lot of women that I know, like my mom, have gotten more beautiful through the years
Yes.
and as they age.
Yes.
And you have some examples to show women who've done that.
Well, we're going to do kind of not a terribly extreme example, but Kate Winslet is an interesting girl. She was back in the Titanic days, you see here on the top. She really has that traditional youthful fullness, a full face. She might be even just a little bit heavier. But as you look that she's aged, she's become so much more kind of angular and, to me, more elegant and just such a cleaner picture. It's a funny combination. You can see even DiCaprio, I think, looks better as well over time. But as they age, it's something that it's not something you really want to chase down that youthful fullness and really go after and do too much. It's something that if we look at this, you can be a little bit thinner and elegant and still look beautiful.
It's interesting. She's actually sworn off cosmetic surgery and Botox. I don't know if she's held to it, but she publicly said
she looks great, and she
that
could have.
she was not going to do anything.
I'll tell you, genetics will trump cosmetic surgery any day. So there's no question if you have good genetics, but I do think there's something about being that angular, elegant look
Yeah.
as you get older.
Yeah.
I think we might have one more that's even better.
Okay. Look how fancy we are, by
I
the
know.
way, with our tablet.
This one I just wanted to show because it's a picture that just came out. That's Christie Brinkley at
You've
59
gotta be kidding me.
with her 15-year-old daughter who look almost like sisters, which
Wow.
if you talk about good genetics, yeah, she's an impressive lady.
She
with
is.
what
I saw
she's
her
been
when
able
she
to
was
maintain.
performing here in San Diego doing all that jazz. She is stunning in
Yeah.
person. I mean,
Yeah,
she really
she's a
is.
beautiful woman.
I mean, she's
Yeah.
spectacular.
Yeah.
Dr. Vince Marin, we love having you. Thank you
Thanks for
so
having me.
much for your help. If you would like to reach Dr. Vince Marin at Marin Aesthetics in Del Mar, we'll put the phone number up right there on your screen. We've also got it linked on our website, fox5sandiego.com. Click on that Scene on tab. Don't zoom in on my face because because there might be some stuff. Don't you do?
Christie Brinkley is 59? Yeah. She was my first crush.
It's a good one.
Back in the, remember Vacation with Chevy Chase? All right, thank you guys.